sometimes at certain events, for example, fundraising events and other kinds of events, you'll be in a ballroom, and the event planner won't think about this, but when they call the hotel and they want to use the ballroom, they'll say, well, we need a sound system. The ballroom folks will say, happy to have you. We got a microphone, we got speakers. Okay? And I don't know if any of you have been into a ballroom at a hotel, but usually they're not really high quality speakers. Okay? And nor is the microphones very high quality. They're usually podium mics. So did the event planner happen to go the extra mile and bring in an outside sound system, and we talked about this last semester, for 250 people or more? Did you bring in an external house system, PA system, to have a certain quality that would cover 250 people or more in a room? Okay? Pay attention to that kind of thing. And then finally, sight. And what we're looking for there is, when you walk into the event, is it attractive? Okay? Is it decorated if it's supposed to be decorated? Again, if I could give you that example that I went to on campus here, this one group that had this dinner and then the show, I would have wanted to see that the tables were skirted. If the tables were skirted, or at least not skirted, maybe just a nice cloth covering, tablecloth on it, rather than a standard non-cloth table, there's a significant difference between quality, impressions of quality. So take a look at sight, visually. Do they have signs, handwritten in marker, bathrooms this way, or do they have printed out signs on the walls that are at least a little bit more professional looking? Pay attention to details. And then sight lines. Again, think about all positions in that auditorium, that arena, that banquet. What are the sight lines like? Are some people sitting behind a pillar, therefore not have a good visual to the overall event? Pay attention to those kind of details. The most conscientious event planners will block off that area and sell those tickets only if it's a sold-out event and people are just dying to get in. Okay, and and you say to them, "I've got a partial view seat in this area, and if you'd like to sit there, agree that it's not full view, it's partial view." Well, then they can sell it. But usually, you want to block this off. It doesn't have good sight lines. Okay. All right, going on to number 4. Was anything done at the event that contributed to both the overall experience for someone and the functioning of the event? I.e., or example, pre-event activity that encouraged participants to arrive early. All right, so here's the example. Cats is over at Hammons Hall. It's going to be sold out over a period of 3 or 4 days. It's going to be sold out because it's a popular show. Well, there also happens to be a basketball game going on, a big basketball game going on at Student Center. Well, a really wise and astute event manager is going to notice, or going to be thinking about, there's going to be a lot of traffic going on down in this area of our campus. What are we going to do to minimize congestion for the people that are coming to the Hammons Hall? Well, one thing you can do is have a pre-event activity. That pre-event activity might be something like a book talk, or somebody coming in to talk a little bit about Cats and the characters that are in Cats and what their role is, and a variety of other things related to the story and the production. So you get 100 people showing up for that. That's maybe 50 cars that show up at 6 o'clock rather than at 6:30 or 7. You've just reduced the amount of potential congestion in that area. Smart, astute event managers going to be paying attention to things like that and do things like that. So that serves a function of minimizing congestion, but it also increases the overall experience for someone. Because they now have not only gone to the production, but they've also gone to the pre-event activity that talks about the production, and therefore when I'm watching Cats now, I know who those characters are, what they're doing, and why, and what their roles are, and the overall storyline. Okay? So pay attention to something like that, if that is in fact the case. Another example of that would be the Cardinals games. Oftentimes they'll have a bobblehead giveaway or something like that, and it's for the first X number of fans, first 1,000 fans. Well, that gets those 1,000 fans there lined up, ready to be there, so that it minimizes, again, congestion, traffic, and flow, but also gets people in early, doesn't it? And when you're in there early, because you got your bobbleheads, what are you going to do?
Eat, drink, and eat.
Drink and eat. So there's going to be there's going to be probably more people buying food there rather than, out, at dinner somewhere else, and then coming to the game afterwards and flowing in at 7 o'clock when the game starts at 7. All right. So it's an overall great experience, but also has a function to it as well. And then another question here, number 5. Were there certain parts of the event that had more of an appeal to certain segments of the audience and not to others? Can anybody give me an example of that? Think about an event for a moment that you've gone to. Was anything done at that event that appealed to one segment of the audience versus another, or targeted one group versus another?
Well, just kind of like in basketball games, they always do giveaways for certain sections, like KFC at our basketball games. If we score like 90 points, that section gets free KFC. So, like, towards the end of the game, I guess they'd be kind of rooting for the 90 points no matter what.
Excellent, excellent. KFC, one section of the arena gets something free from a vendor. If they reach 90 points, it gets them engaged. Okay, come on, they're reaching up to 90 points. Great example here. Did you have something, Matt?
I had one, but it wasn't a big one.
It wasn't what?
It wasn't a big one.
Okay, gotcha. Another example of that would be at a basketball game, once again, you might see children doing some of the timeout activities because the other kids are sitting in the arena wishing they were down there. So instead of them sliding out of the chair, bored, stiff, they are focused on this little kid shooting a certain number of baskets in a certain amount of time, and that's engaging that segment of the audience. Matt, got another one.
An indoor soccer team on Kansas City, back when we used to have it, they did a bunch of recreational youth leagues came in and played more during the one and intermissions.
Okay, great. A recreational youth league between timeouts or at halftime or something like that comes and plays. We see that also at some Sugar Bowls and other bowl games. They have the punt, pass, and kick competition taking place during the middle, at the halftime or recognition during one of the timeouts. A good example.